What about ethanol in phase one? How much ethanol would be produced?
A little over 40 million gallons a year.
All right. Let's say that there was funding available, the startup funding that you're talking about. When would you be starting to build a plant?
We'd look to break ground in the fall of 2009, probably complete commissioning late 2010, early 2011.
You do anything like this anyplace else around the world?
We're at the same place for 3 different plants, but we haven't broken ground on any of them yet. We do have 3 funding commitments, though.
You do have 3 funding commitments. Is it fair to ask from where they're coming?
I've got the one firm funding commitment in Peru. I have another firm funding commitment in Montana for a mine mouth plant to use coal as a feedstock, and I've got another one in process for a plant in Florida that would be half the size of the one proposed for Michigan.
Okay, but because we have the waste stream that we have in Michigan, there's more opportunity here. Is that true?
I come to be in Michigan because of our local partner, SunCrest Energy. We have certain project elements that need to be fulfilled, such as feedstock, good host community relationships, power purchase agreements, and so forth. And SunCrest Energy has worked very hard to make all of those, to fulfill all of those requirements. That allows me to bring our funding partner to Michigan then.
Okay, very good.
Chair recognizes Senator Kuipers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I may have missed this. I apologize for coming in late, but the total cost of the project?
This is plus or minus $500 million.
Okay, that's the amount you've secured?
Yes.
Okay, so you've secured all the funding you need to go forward? Do you really need the state's involvement?
I have a firm funding commitment for the $500 million. To close on that, I have to do the upfront engineering and secure the permits.
Okay.
And so that's the money I was looking for.
Okay. And how many jobs total?
Phase 1, we're looking at 50 jobs.
And phase 1 would just be the incinerator?
Phase 1 would be the 85 megawatts and the 40 million gallons of ethanol.
Okay.
It'd be a full and complete plant, and then it would be expanded modularly after that.
Now, is this technology that you've invented or your group has invented?
No, it's been invented by others. We're a developer, and we've went out and secured licenses and or technology access agreements from each of the people that have the technology. What makes us a little bit different is this isn't venture-based. Each of the technologies we have is working in one shape or form on its own. By taking the technical parameters of each of these technologies and putting them together, they actually work together better than they do separately because of byproducts from one become feedstock for another. And so that's why we describe ourselves as a technology integrator. Each of these technologies, as I said, they are commercial, but they haven't had somebody to bring them together and understand how they can build a better project in today's environmental and economic climate.
On a scale of 1 to 100, where would you put the success rate of this technology that you're going to build? I mean, do you have all the questions answered in your mind that you think need to be answered?
I do.
So you could say to this committee today that with 100% certainty, if you build this, it will work exactly as you have it on paper?
I have no doubt about that at all.
Okay.
I used to sit on the other side of the fence scrutinizing technologies until a few of these landed in my lap and I had to move over to the other side of the fence.
It's a $500 million investment
Yes.
for 85 megawatts.
Yes.
Where does that stack up with, say, the cost to produce a nuclear plant versus the amount of megawatts you could produce?
It's going to be a little bit higher, in part because we have the ethanol component with it. The thing that nobody has ever done on the electrical production side, we're able to take energy to the market at competitive rates with this technology, in part because we're using as close to all the carbon as we can with the production of ethanol. There will be times when the ethanol subsidizes the electricity, but what happens is by making electricity, we actually wind up with cleaner feedstock for the ethanol technology. And so it's almost necessary that we do make electricity out of our process to make everything as efficient as it can.
Okay, but the first phase is just the electricity.
Now, the first phase will include both ethanol and electricity. It's all being built together.
Together, okay. And then what would the future phases be?
As we secure feedstock agreements, we'll begin to increase the
volume?
The overall capacity. Financially, it works quite well, and heaven forbid if fuel prices get where they were a year ago, the margins are very attractive.
So you could be cost competitive in both arenas because of both processes, but if you had just one or the other,
they don't work.
Either ethanol or either electricity production, the
require
numbers wouldn't work.
No, they require subsidies.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chair recognizes Senator Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here today. One question that comes to mind is the reliability of the waste stream that feeds your system, and how reliable is that?
We will do long-term agreements with people that have the ability to supply waste. One of the backups we have is we'll also probably discuss with both DEQ and some of the nearby owners as if there's a backup supply we need, we may dig up a landfill. It's a little more expensive feedstock, but it's still carbon. And actually the carbon content goes a little higher because of decomposition, the percentage of plastic is higher.
And essentially a closed system then, there is no, you're capturing all emissions, correct?
There will be, we're capturing all of the gas that comes out of the gas fires captured and sent on to other processes. The carbon dioxide will be captured and cracked. Ultimately, there will probably be a little bit of oxygen, a little bit of hydrogen, and some nitrogen emissions. But this winds up being probably the cleanest of all technologies because we process all of our gases for all the revenue we can.
So the 21st century answer to waste to energy that used to require wet scrubbers and a real concern about air emissions and
we have to the gas that comes out of our gasifiers around 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit to 2,500, and so through the course of cooling it, we will be using some quenches and scrubbers, but we'll be able to also process some of the stuff that's in it with our plasma torch. So in many cases some of the stuff that we have that's difficult to deal with will vitrify or basically turn into glass. But it's the cleanest thing I've ever come across.
I, too, have a couple of questions. I appreciate your coming forward and bringing this to our attention. I thank Senator Richardville for making this happen. MEDC, as you noted in your slide presentation, said that the project has merit. They just ran out of money.
That's correct.
And if they were to get more money, it's too late for you to benefit from their finding more money?
We'll continue to leave things active with them. We're also going to look for some private sources to get things moving. It's a good project. We want to move it forward. We would love to work with MEDC because I think it forges a great partnership with the state as we look at expansion phases and so forth.
Well, in following up what